I hope some people are here. I have to move. For those of you who don't know, I live in an RV and I have to move because there is a major party about to get started. I've suspected it all day, but now they're hauling in heavy equipment like bigger speakers, something that looks like lights or a stage. I need to go. All right, is everyone here? Hi, everyone. All right. I'm sorry we're early. So I thought I would just go ahead and start early. Hi, Ralph. Okay. So, maybe I shouldn't have started early because a lot of people are going to be here at 5, but I need to pack up and move. Yeah, time to get out of Dodge. So I've been texting my friends all day. I have been out here by myself in the middle of nowhere for about a week. And last night, a car came in kind of late. I noticed this morning they put up one of those tents. I walked down this morning just to see what's going on, and there were some OHVs. They had a bar set up. They had a little screen and a couple little speakers that I've heard thumping coming out of a couple times a day today, and then it would go quiet. I asked the people, is there a race going on? And they're like, no, just some people who had the same idea, but they had a bar set up. So it's almost 5 o'clock. They're hauling in the big guns. I need to get the heck out of Dodge. I could sit here and they're a mile down the road and I can already hear their music. I can't do it. I can't do it. Hi, Steve. How's it going? So I'm really going to get right to it. Hi, Christiane. Yeah, so a drinking party, Burning Man. I'm sitting here going, you know what? I can't be mad. They came to do this out in the middle of nowhere. I'm the only one here. There's some people on the other side of me about a mile away on the other side of me. So, I can't be mad about it. They came out in the middle of the desert thinking there wasn't going to be anybody out here to do their music and to do whatever they're doing. I think what they're doing is illegal. I doubt they have a permit, and they were very like, oh, just people who had the same idea. I'm like, really? With like speakers and a bar? So I think it's an unpermitted event. So I'm just going to go. And I had some warning. Exactly. I just kept all day long. It's been a hell of a day. First with the hike. Anyway, it's been a hell of a day. It's been a very stressful, just off day. I should have just moved this morning. No, I'm not going to reschedule. I have an hour. I know where I'm going from here. Not very far. Hopefully it's a spot that I scouted a couple years ago. It should be really quiet. I have a couple options, so it'll be fine. I've already packed up. I just have to pack up my Starlink basically and my computer when I'm done and get out of here. So, hey everyone. I appreciate you being here. Hi. So I know a lot of you really wanted to talk about what happened in Tennessee this week. And if you get here a little bit, closer to 5, because I started early, well, it's not even 5 yet, but what do you guys think about what's going on in Tennessee? I spent the day. Hi, are you okay? I spent the day. Are you okay? I know. She's like, what's going on? Mom doesn't pack up this late at night. Oh no, I'm sorry your dog got sprayed by a skunk. So I spent the day really diving into what happened in Tennessee because I wanted to understand it better before I talk about it. I know, probably armed. Yeah, there's target practice. It's going to be hell. I need to get the hell out of here. Boycott Tennessee. So when I first started diving into the news about what happened in Tennessee, and I talked to a good friend of mine this morning about it too, at first I was like, I think the media might be hyping it a little bit, making a mountain out of a molehill, except for the fact that they expelled the 2 black members and not the white member. That's a whole other horrible, disgusting thing about it. But when I first started looking into it, I was like, they broke the rule. They disrupted legislative process. They disrupted the whole what is it called? They disrupted the whole legislature and their proceedings. And I'm like, well, you know what? So they should have been punished. And that, and I'm reading that they came onto the legislative floor with bullhorns. They led protesters into the Senate, into the House, the legislative chambers on the floor. I'm like, can we really be mad about this? I mean, they led a whole bunch of protesters in with bullhorns, completely disrupting business. Now, I understand the First Amendment. I understand free speech. But at first I thought, okay, you know what? The media is blowing this way out of proportion. They violated the rules of the floor. So that's what I thought at first. But then I started digging a little bit deeper. And what I realized that the punishment was disproportionate. Exactly. That is where I finally came down on. These members could have been censured. And instead, the crazy right-wing supermajority Republican voted to expel them. So now I understand the outrage. Now I understand why everybody is all up in arms. They literally stripped the voters of their vote when they could have punished them in a different way. Instead, they just grabbed the will of the voters and said, nope, bye-bye, bye-bye, you're gone, we're taking away your seat. Yeah. No way, their mics were cut? I didn't read that. Are you sure? I didn't read that anywhere. And I did a lot of reading. I agree, Richard, that it's a shame that the Republicans don't get as upset about children being killed at school as they do about the ones that try to do something about the shootings. I completely agree. The whole thing is disgusting and despicable. My friends and I were texting last night, and we all are feeling like this doom, like this country is just, we're a mess. We're a mess. And I put a post here yesterday. Really? Their mics got cut. I didn't see that anywhere in any of the reading I did. You heard it when one was interviewed. And they weren't allowed to cast their votes? Really? Okay, so I missed a lot in my research. I had a feeling you guys might know more to the story than even I. I mean, I spent quite a bit of time today. Sadie girl, are you okay? It's a little warm here. It's like 85 degrees in here right now. Are you okay? What you doing? And I know Republicans referred to it as an insurrection. I know, and they tried making it sound like it was the exact same thing that happened on January 6th. Come on. So if there was any doubt before, and there hasn't been, Republicans no longer care about democracy. Period. Does anybody think, raise your hand if you think Republicans are really caring about democracy? Hi, Amanda. Hi, Dave. Does anybody think Republicans are anything but fascist dictators at this point? They are literally stripping the will of the people by kicking these people out of Congress. And it sounds like all of you are not out of Congress, but out of the state legislature. Right. No, the Republicans don't care. Your hand is in your pocket. Gavin's Nana. So I think on the bright side is the more they show their hand, the more they show how little they care about the Constitution, how little they really care about the First Amendment. They scream, oh, everybody, is trying to silence us, when in fact they're doing most of the silencing. The more they show that, the more women, and we're going to get to that in a minute, and the more young people are going to be infuriated. And the more people are going to go to the polls in 2024, the more people are going to get involved, right? So while this is atrocious, I think it's actually going to hurt them. right? High destination happiness. Commandant Bone Spurs showed them the way. Totally. Absolutely. He showed them basically that you can bulldoze your way through the Constitution and through our government institutions and find and slither and ooze through every loophole. That's what he showed them. There is no doubt in my mind that our Republican Party no longer gives a shit about democracy. And that if they get power, they will do more of what this judge in Texas just did. Everybody knows about that, right? Hi, Sandra. So I find it interesting that whenever we talk about Black people in the public eye, and I've been guilty of it myself, we always say well-spoken. I don't hear that as often applied to white people. Just an observation. Well-spoken Black man. They are very well-spoken Black men. Very well-spoken Black women. I don't hear that hardly ever when we talk about white people in the public eye. Just something to think about. Because I think I caught myself doing it recently and I was like, oh shit. Just something to think about. As if it's not the norm, right? As if it's unexpected. As if we need to qualify, right? So somebody says, it doesn't seem to matter the party anymore. Everything is a mess. It has caused so much division within my family. I completely disagree, Julie's second act. I completely disagree. It does matter the party. We have one party who is freaking hanging on by a thread to try to preserve our country. We have another party who is actively, deliberately trying to dismantle every democratic process and institution in our country. I agree. The Tennessee Three were inspirational in making good trouble. And that goes to the other part of the whole fiasco and the whole thing about that's outraging. Do you need any more evidence of racism? I mean, the three people did exactly the same thing. A white woman and two Black men did exactly the same thing. And the white woman kept her job. Really? I mean, could it be any more glaring, the racism that still exists systemically and institutionally? Sure, it was just one vote that saved her. So what? It doesn't matter. There's still one person in a power of position that chose to let her stay over the Black men. Why? I love that she called them out too. Dana, exactly. She called it out. The only reason I still have my job is because of the color of my skin. It amazes me that anybody can look at what has gone on in this country forever, but especially the last few years, and say that there is no more racism. That when we talk about race, we're race baiting. That whenever Barack Obama brought up race, he was a race baiting president. He caused all the racial division. No, the racial division is there. Talking about it is not what creates it. Just like all the time I hear that I'm a man hater because I talk about the crimes men have committed against me. I talk about all the times men have defrauded me at auto repair shops. And instead of admitting that men have done these things, instead of admitting that we have a racism problem in our country, they want to blame the people who talk about it and bring it to our attention. So yes, so what's going to happen next? So Jacqueline wants to know, I know, right? How dare Obama be a president while Black? So Jacqueline wants to know if they have a special election, are they eligible? So one of the young man, Jones, I think it is, his district was Memphis. I think it's the Memphis City Council already voted to bypass their like 4 or 6 week waiting period to elect an interim representative. And on Monday, they're going to get together and they're going to elect the same guy as their interim legislator. and they expect the other guy's district to do the exact same thing. So these guys will get their positions back as interim until the special elections are held. They're saying this summer, and yes, they are eligible to run again, but I think that they still have to pass a supermajority vote to get seated, I think is what I heard. What do you guys think? Talia, you said you're confused. Did I just help clear that up? Because I think I got it. They will the one from Memphis will be reinstated as the interim legislator, representative until the special election, and he will run again in the special election. Hopefully, he'll win again. Yes. Yes. One of the men I heard earlier on the legislative floor, and he very much, you made a point about the well-spoken thing. One of the men very much gave me like Martin Luther King vibes, just the cadence of his speech, the passion of his speech, uh the way he was very pointed in his language. I really kind of a little bit got Martin Luther King vibes, and I hope that's not a stereotype. It could be. Doing my best here. But is the interim person appointed? Yes, by the district. And like I said, I think it was Memphis City Council. So whatever body in the district the candidate is from gets together, and they assign or appoint an interim representative. So yeah, they could have censured them. They could have done a number of things to punish them for their behavior, and Republicans ousted them. Goodbye. These same Republicans who are defending Josh Hawley, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, all of the Jim Jordan, all of the ones who defended the insurrectionists on January 6th are now defending their position for ousting members, elected officials in their own state legislature. I agree. I think, aren't they the youngest? Dana says she loves that they're young. And we could also speak to that, the fact that they're so young and they're so intelligent and so well spoken. And so that for me, to see the young people, there's the David Hoggs of the world, and Greta Thunberg, but there's another woman I follow on Twitter, very young. These young people who are passionate and well spoken and really up on they're really, really good. And I was telling my friend earlier, it's going to take the young people to pull us out of this. I wonder sometimes on some level if us who are Gen X and Gen Y, maybe we're a little too complacent, because we didn't have to be this angry. We felt a false sense of security in that our society was evolving, that our rights were safe for the most part. So it's really nice to see the young people getting so involved. I hope they go far in politics. The punishment did not fit the crime. It took me a minute to get there, to be honest with you. I had to do a lot of reading and a lot of research for me to get there personally. I didn't want to go in there into the research about this with all my emotions on my sleeve. I really tried to look at the facts I looked at a whole bunch of different sources. I really wanted to look at the facts before I made up my mind about screaming fascism and anti-First Amendment. And it took me a while to get there. I'm going to be honest with you. It took me a little while. I was like, they broke the rules. They have to be punished. And it wasn't until a lawyer or something was interviewed on CBS or something, an article that I read, and he was like, they could have been censured. And instead they chose to kick them out and to strip the voters of their representation. It was blatantly racist. Yeah. Yeah. I do think Gen X and boomers maybe. Well, no, boomers were part of the civil rights and everything. So I think as Gen X, I think we were a little complacent. So American Super Tramp. Oh boy. Uh I said when we talk my point was oftentimes when we are speaking about black men especially and black women, we often say they are so well spoken. I don't hear that as often when we're talking about white people. Period. When I said they were well spoken, I was talking about young people, all of young people, young white people, young people of all colors. I was talking about young people being well spoken. And I don't think that I don't think it's the same. I don't think it's the same. It's kind of like, yeah. I think a lot of you knew what I meant about that. So Sarah says, I would argue that social media and the pandemic has allowed everyone to be more involved and aware that these things are happening. Yeah, you might be right. And having the last president in office really made us all more aware of the stuff that kind of lurked more in the shadows before. The former guy really brought it out front and center. The people who might have whispered this shit in dark rooms and bars and whatever, wherever they go, church in the past are now saying this shit out loud because he made it okay. Trump gave these racists he validated them. He validated all of them. So I think you're right, Sarah. I think it's a combination of all of those things that has made it worse. Robin says, I get your point. I never hear how white people are so well spoken. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, unless it's a young person sometimes, but almost always when we see a black person on TV, they were so well spoken. What? And we know what the subtext of that is, right? Think about what the subtext of that is. So, yeah, I think it's an important thing to think about. The former guy really did validate those horrible viewpoints. He did. He validated the worst of all. Now, that doesn't exist in me. Misogyny, racism, making fun of a guy with developmental the disabled guy. American Supertramp, I know you from my other channel. So I'm not going to block you, but I know that you can turn. I know that you can turn. So just no, I think you again are completely missing the point. It's not about one incident, it's about a systemic uttering, it's about something bigger. So you can't just take my words in a vacuum and try to use your logic on them. This is a bigger issue. Whenever I hear anybody talk about a black person on TV, 90% of the time they talk about how well spoken they are. We don't hear that across any other demographic continually and continuously, ever. That's the point. This is exactly the systemic, not necessarily racism, but predisposed ideas we have about people that we don't recognize and we try to ignore and we try to say don't exist. Thank you, Deborah, for being here. I appreciate it. Steve, I'm white and can't even type. Again, it's about bigger. It's bigger. It's bigger. It's traditional racism. We've always done it. So what's the problem now? And it's important to look at these things and analyze them within ourselves, even, so that we can start recognizing the bigger systemic issues that surround us. If we can't even look at ourselves, how can we see beyond ourselves to see the bigger issues? Okay, Ralph, excellent way to describe it. So Ralph says, I've heard people talk about how a young person is so well spoken, but it's because they are well spoken for their age. You nailed it. You nailed it. Whereas when people say that black man is so well spoken, they're saying that usually black people aren't well spoken. I'm just going to come right out and say it. That's what they're saying. Usually they're not. So just something to think about. And again, when you hear it over and over and over and over again, it's bigger than one sentence. It's bigger than one person saying it. So very good, Ralph. I think that really was a really good way to put it. Robin Cunningham. Well, thank you very much. I'm black and Carolyn is absolutely correct. Thank you. Thank you for validating that. I hope that was okay. Yeah. Thank you. Trying to explain this to people. It's hard when people are so set in their ways and so ingrained. They picked on people on MLK. Yeah. Some say this was done to put them in their place. Everything that is happening is giving them the vibes from MLK and women's rights. Oh my gosh, did you hear how these Republicans in the legislature talk to these guys? Holy crap. Oh my, one of the guys said, oh my gosh, I wish I knew their names. Johnson, I tried to memorize their names. He was just like, he's talked down to me like you need to know your place, Negro. I mean, how dare you call our leader a liar? How dare you throw a temper tantrum? Oh my goodness. You want to talk about patronizing? And he was exactly right. You're telling me to just mind myself, Negro. It's exactly what it was. And that's exactly Justin Jones and Pearson. Thank you. I knew one of them was Jones. And that's exactly why the two black guys got kicked out and the white woman didn't. Because how dare they? How dare they have a voice against these old white guys, against the patriarchy? How dare they raise their voice? How dare they step out of line, step out of their lane? Get back in place, boy. It humiliated them in their racist, patriarchal bullshit. That's why they got kicked out and not the white woman. It wasn't about the protest. It wasn't about the violation of the rules. They stepped out of their lane. Racist. Racist. All right. I didn't hear Kamala's speech. Jones and Pearson, it was offensive. Oh, their language. And if you think language doesn't matter, boy, their language was so offensive. Just like, well, no, it's not just like, but language matters. And there's a history of these old white guys in power talking to women and people of color. But I think especially the young black men that way. Oh, it was disgusting. It made my skin crawl when I heard that. How dare you? Ugh. Yeah, how dare he? Someday he's going to have your seat, motherfucker. And he knows it. And that's why they're scared. And that's why they no longer believe in democracy. They see the tide is turning. They see that these old white patriarchal Republican fascists are not popular anymore. Their ideas aren't popular. So they don't care about democracy anymore. All they care about is power. And when a young black man talk back to him, they're going to take away his power. They're going to stomp him. How is that any different than Jim Crow and what they did in the times of Jim Crow? How is that any different than finding fake crimes to gather up all the freed slaves on the streets and put them in jail? How is this any different? Ugh. Just makes me sick. I know, Tracy. Same here. I can't believe it's 2023. Really? If you're offended by my fucking language, then maybe this isn't the channel for you. So that's another way to tell people to bend and morph to some idea of patriarchal religion. I'm gonna fucking swear. I'm gonna motherfucking swear. So I hope you were joking, Steve. How long have you guys known me? I fucking swear. I don't swear nearly as much in video as I do in real life. All right. I will agree with that. They are excellent orators, and we'll go. I will agree with that. I will agree with that, and especially like I said, that one guy on the floor who just kind of gave me MLK vibes. I agree on the orator. Very like, yeah. You're unsubscribing, Sarah. Are you unsubscribing as my friend too? Unsubscribing because you're swearing. I know. Bye. Ralph's like, bye. Bye, Karen. Somebody called me a Karen the other day because I don't remember why, but I'm like, do you even know what a Karen is? Aw, Sarah. Yeah. So, Ms. Jobs, all this happens in the backdrop of finding a young black decapitated as the sheriff states he died. What? I didn't even hear about that. Ugh, don't even get me started. Beyond oration, they are passionate people who care. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. I think we're all still stuck on the spoken thing, just using different terms. So thank you. Yeah. I'm betting God is swearing a lot these days. I have a fun little short for you on Monday. Yeah, I think you're gonna like it. I was out. I told you I got literally woken up Friday morning. My aunt is on the East Coast. Maybe she didn't think it's 6:30 in the morning on the West, but literally I got woken up by scripture, like 3-4 texts of scripture. And I quickly let her know that wasn't okay. And we with love agreed that we wouldn't stop, because I sent her a bunch of shit about atheism. She sent me 4 texts about scripture. I sent her 4 texts about why I'm an atheist and why I don't believe in all that. And she came back, God loves you and God is real and God is this. And I said, I don't believe in that. And honestly, I don't like receiving this message. It got a little more personal. What did she say? God is watching out for you. So yeah. And then so she agreed to stop sending me scripture. So I think that was a win for both of us. I told her, I respect your right to worship and believe in whatever you want. I will defend that to my death. I don't know about that, but I will defend it as much as I will defend any other right. And I hope that you will respect my right and my beliefs. But anyway, that day I got all that scripture. I was out for my walk in the morning. I just had all these thoughts about religion and all these ideas go in my head. And so I shot a little short. Exactly, Ralph. I'm not going to try to convince you there's no God if you don't try to convince me there is one. And I think that's going to be my response from now on. Whenever somebody wants to preach to me about their God, I'm going to preach to them about atheism. Goes both ways, right? I'm praying for you is so patronizing. Oh my gosh. Okay. It can be. Yeah, that's an interesting. I don't know if I've thought about it that way. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Usually when people tell me that in comments, I understand that they really believe that they are doing something good. And so I try to see it that way. I'm praying for you because that's all they feel like they can do to save my sinner soul. And if it makes them feel better, I thank them. Okay, thank you. Go ahead and pray for me. I don't come back with, I don't believe in God, don't bother. But yeah, interesting, Sarah. I accept that they're giving me well wishes. Exactly. That's how I see it. Is there, as long as you're not praying. It's all about tone and intention. Yeah. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Sarah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll pray for you, you stupid atheist. I'll pray for you that you'll find God. Yeah, that's condescending for sure. I agree. When we learn to respect each other's differences and accept that we all don't have to believe the same thing, and not to impose my beliefs on everybody else. It's sad. That's what's sad. Hold on, I need a drink. Okay. Thoughts and prayers. Thanks, Katie. Thoughts and prayers. We see how good that works. The thoughts and prayers have worked so well through the history of civilization to stop bad things. And that's, I'll go ahead and say it. And I say this sometimes in comments too. And I think some people, Christians, think I'm angry. But when people say God is watching out for you, God cares about you, I always say, where was God when I was getting abused? Where was God when my father was doing whatever really? God was watching? Okay, that puts a whole other spin on things. And you can't convince me that there is a God who thinks that life is precious, so precious that we have to outlaw aborting a fetus the size of my tip of my thumb, yet allows kids to get slaughtered in school. No, it's completely illogical. There can't be a good God who loves us and allows that to happen. And at the same time, turn around and say, life is precious, so I'm going to tell you what you can and cannot do with your body. Life is so precious, I'm going to take that right away from you, but it's not so precious that we're going to put common sense gun laws into place. In fact, let me tell you what the legislator, one of the Republican racists, said. I heard an interview, I think on NPR. He said, we did pass common sense gun legislation that very morning. Do you want to know what the legislation that they passed to protect children from gun violence in Tennessee is? More security officers in school. That's their idea of a solution. And here's the thing. I did a little research on that. Tennessee ranks 30th in our country in education. 30th. They have no money to educate our children, but they have enough money to pay for security guards, because heaven forbid we should put some common sense gun laws in place. So they find money to put security guards in school, but they can't find money to educate our children. That's right. More guns, more armed guards. But fuck their education. Because you know why? Because when we teach our kids, that's why when kids go to college, they become liberal. Because when we teach people real history, real civics, about the Constitution, about how our government works, when people get educated, this is a fact, they stop voting Republican. That's a fact. Not all of them. There are certainly some very, very educated people, mostly the people in power, which is ironic. There are some educated people who vote Republican, but I think studies show the more educated you are, the less likely you are to vote Republican. So they can find the money to put armed guards in school, which have shown isn't going to keep the kids safe, but they can't find money to educate them. Very good point. Security guards enforce school to prison pipeline. Wow. Brilliant. Absolutely. They get money from not buying books. Mental health is the issue. No, guns are the issue. Every single country on this planet has mental health issues. It's not mental health, it's the fucking guns. I know, and to give teachers guns, exactly. I'm going to tell you, and I've said this before, some of my favorite people are Christians. People who are close to me. I don't want to, yeah, people who are close to me. I know a couple people here who I feel like are friends. I've gotten to know some couple people in my personal life, family members. I've known people who are Christians, the real kind. Even my aunt who sent me the scripture, she's the real kind. She was able to hear me, and she was able to respect my opinions and my beliefs. And she cares about people. And, I'm not totally, I don't dislike people who are religion. I know. And that's right. And Paige is a Christian. And where is she? Sandra. Love real Christians. I do. The people and every Christian I know personally and like is very intelligent, very open-minded. So I do appreciate real Christians. I feel yucky saying that, but you know what I mean. Yeah, Sandra and Paige. Yes. Bring guns to school. Well, the former guy said he loves the uneducated. There's a reason for that. I don't know. Spiritual, not religious. Katie, my grands have locked doors with an intercom for 15 years. How about every school just lock the damn door? It's disgusting. We even have to think about that. But yeah. Yeah. I agree, Richard. A locked door is not going to keep them out. They put metal detectors in, 15, 20 years ago, thinking that was going to keep them out. That hasn't kept them out. Locked doors aren't going to keep them out. Somebody with an AR, whatever, who's determined to cause that much mayhem is going to find a way, period. The solution is to take away the ARs. Why is that so hard? Sadie's up on the dash. Hey, hi. Yep. That's her spot. She likes to lay up there in the sun. She can see everything. Can y'all see her? Yeah. Here. All right. Do you guys mind if a Canadian shares your 2 cents? Nope, not at all. Sadie's watching the pending concert. When they were booming earlier, they're out. They're like 3/4 of a mile that way, and I can hear them right now. But Sadie's perfectly framed. Hi. What are you doing? Are you doing good? Are you happy, girl? Are you happy? She's like, I don't know what you humans get so upset about. Life is good. I chase mice and bunnies. Oh, so Smooth Skater locked the door so the Nashville shooter shot all the glass out the door. Get rid of the guns and send your kids to school in peace. Yeah, why is that so hard? I know, to be Sadie. If we all could just be happy and peaceful like dogs. Some dogs. There's a guy with an AR-15 patrolling your daughter's high school? Remember back in the day, I don't know why Sandinistas comes to mind for people my age on TV. I don't even know what Sandinista is, but that's what comes to mind. And we saw images on the news of streets lined with guys, with machine GUNS. I think I'm already going to get flagged on this video for monetization, but right? That's what we are. We have turned into that. Our high schools, our schools have armed guards. If that doesn't look like a third world backward country, I don't know what does. Michigan Carol wants to know why people love their firearms so much. I gotta tell you, every time I do a video about fear, about a safety alert or something like that, I can't tell you how many comments I get telling us just to get a firearm. Why don't you get licensed? Why aren't you armed? As it's our culture. I don't get it. I just don't get it. And I grew up with hunters. I grew up with people in my family. Everybody owned a rifle for hunting, and I don't get this fetish. It's what it is. It's a fetish. The NRA has done a really good job through lobbying of brainwashing everyone into thinking that you're not safe unless you have a firearm. The news doesn't help. But you got to also think that so much of America is built on the military industrial complex. So much of our country is about war, about we put more money into the Pentagon than any other line item in the budget. We send our young guys and women now off to fight, off to war. Our video games are full of shooting and guns. Kids, even my age, cops and robbers and cowboys and Indians, and ran around with toy guns. We have fetishized guns throughout American culture. The old cowboy movies, right? So I feel like it's just been a part of who we are for so long. And now it's just kind of really gotten out of hand. Why not a cannon? Yeah, exactly. Because not everybody can carry a cannon. Not every household can have a cannon. Wow, Ms. Jobs, 20 years in the military and fired a weapon once. Oh, wow. Wow. Hi, April. Teachers are have so much extra time that they have plenty of extra time to carry a gun, watch out for suspicious strangers, and protect the schools. It's disgusting that they want to arm teachers. They're such cowards. They're such cowards. Rather than stand up to their lobbyists, rather than risk losing their power by speaking truth and doing what's right for all of us, they'd rather just keep getting paid off by the NRA and doing the NRA's building. They don't give a shit. It's about power. As long as they can stay in power, they don't give a shit. They don't care about anything. So they keep taking NRA's money. They keep telling us that putting any common sense gun law into practice is a slippery slope into fascism. In the meantime, they're taking away all our other rights. And people believe it. Yep, exactly, Dave. Yeah. Fetishizing weapons of lethality. Exactly. We're so broken. It's scary. It's scary where we're at. We're in scary times. So I hope everybody will get involved. I did a lot last time around the elections, really encouraging people to get involved, write to your legislators, help get voters registered, volunteer at toll booths or not toll booths, voting locations and things like that. We all need to be on deck. We're not done. Having Biden in office gave us a little bit of a reprieve. We didn't have, boy, can you imagine if the former guy had stolen another election? Because he stole 2016. He stole it. some of the charges that are going to be coming out about him. Oh, already the New York indictment that he paid off people to squash information about him to win the election. He stole the freaking election. He stole the election by cheating and got 3 Supreme Court justices, none of them qualified, all of them right-wing crazies who are going to take all our rights away. They all need to be taken out. We need to either get rid of them because they shouldn't be valid because he cheated, which we can't do. We need to expand the Supreme Court. I don't know what Canadians can do to help. I don't know. Hi, Craig. A concern I have is a law enforcement and military becoming Trump's brown shirts and pro-cop stances by Joe Biden and establishment Democrats still willing to hire white supremacists in those fields. So here is that I definitely absolutely agree that is a concern. And I do think that there is going to be a little bit of that. I think we saw a little bit of that on January 6th. I think we saw some people on his side who didn't act like they should have. But Rachel Maddow, I watched today from, I think, the 6th. And the former guy has been calling out his people to come and protest his indictment and his arrest. He's calling his people to arms, and they're not responding. Nobody came to New York. Nobody came to fight his battle for him. One report I saw said that the reporters outnumbered the Trump supporters. So his people they're not listening to him anymore. I think everybody's kind of getting tired of his BS. So I don't know how much they may not come out for Trump, but they may come out for the next guy. And I talked a little bit about that in the last live stream, like a DeSantis or somebody smarter. This movement is not going away. So the best we can do is keep active, keep alert, keep aware, keep educated, keep voting, and keep doing everything in our power to help the democratic process and help save democracy. Federal judges too, absolutely. There's nothing in the Constitution saying a judgeship is for life. Yeah, that Texas, you want to talk about Texas? That Texas judge, a Trump appointee, this guy is a piece of work. Misogynist, anti-LGBTQ. This guy is a piece of garbage. So one judge just stripped the FDA's approval of this drug that's been around for decades for women to have medicinal, medical, pill abortions. One guy, one judge. So let's talk about that a minute. What was the Republican and the Supreme Court justification for overturning Roe v. Wade? What was their justification for doing that? Anybody know? What was their justification for overturning Roe v. Wade? I'm looking down to see if there's any strobe lights yet. Oh, so you guys don't want to talk about Texas yet? You still want to talk about the other gun thing? That's right. Amanda, sending it back to the states to decide for themselves. That's what the Republicans told us. None of us believed that. Republicans who voted for them believed it. None of us believed it was about states' rights. And this judge in Texas just proved it's not about states' rights. It's about abolishing. It's about taking away a woman's right to make her own choices about her body. This federal judge in Texas just completely overturned FDA approval of the abortion drug for every person in the United States, in every state, whether your state has approved abortion or banned abortion. This judge by himself, one guy who is a freaking maniac, has decided this drug will no longer be available, outlawing abortion drugs for every woman. It's going to be taken off the shelves in 7 days. They are coming for our rights. Under the guise of state rights, under the guise of the Constitution, under the guise of protect your Second Amendment rights, under the guise of they're trying to silence you, they're trying to cancel you, but we're going to expel members of the state legislature for speaking their mind. Who in their right mind doesn't see what's going on? They're distracting you with drag queens and trans athletes and everything else while they strip away your rights one by one. And they're not even stripping them away. These people are giving them away. But clenching their guns, I don't care as long as I have my gun. So the drug the FDA approved in 2000, our bodies are not politicians' business. Exactly. No, it's not the same as the morning after pill. So I'll share a little something personal about myself. I have done the pill abortion. I was in my 40s, and you go to the doctor and they do the normal, like, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And, they give you a little bit of like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Yes, of course. They give you 2 pills. I think it was 2. They send you home, you take the pills, and you miscarry. That's it. That's it. No more going in and vacuuming out your insides and all the horrible, not that it's not painful, it was painful, but nothing as bad as the vacuuming out your insides. So it's not the same as the morning after pill. It is an actual abortion pill. It is the actual pill, one of the pills, I think it's one of the 2 pills they give you to abort if you're already pregnant. You have to be very, very early. I was very early, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, maybe. That's right. Sarah, don't think it's just women in the LGBTQA. If you don't fit that demographic, you are safe. It's just the beginning. Touche. Exactly. This is why they don't want you to study history. I've studied history. I've studied fascists. I've studied dictators. Those are just the low-hanging fruit to get everybody else to vote for them and to keep them in power. But next they come for your rights. Wait. Just wait. Oh. People are leaving. And I don't hear any music. I should get out my binoculars and see if the stage is still down there. I'm sure it's just the beginning. It's going to be crazy. I got to get out of here. All right. I doubt the concert can't be over. They just hauled in something that looked like a stage, right before I started the live stream. So, the babies, never mind after it's born. That's the problem I have with this whole thing. That's exactly the comment I made earlier about God, life is precious. God you can't kill the babies until they're in school with an AR-15. Then it's fair game because you can't take away our rights. It just drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. Christiane, I was raped at 15 by a biker that was 35. I did not did what was right at the time. I had counseling and lived my life and had 3 grown now. Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry that happened to you. That's awful. And thank God you had that choice. And we all have I was a raging alcoholic. I was a raging alcoholic. I was a mess. A lot of my life. I wouldn't say most, but a lot of my life. And there was no way I could have given an actual baby a decent life. I couldn't give myself I was a mess. And that's, I've never, I've never felt guilty because I know in my heart I did the right thing for a baby that would have been born. I don't believe a fetus. I've talked about this, but many women don't know if they're pregnant at 6 weeks. Exactly. And that's what DeSantis is pushing for Florida. Exactly. It's now 15 in Florida. I would adopt any child, but my goodness, some babies are born to die. Imagine sentencing them to death. That's what's happening with and many other medical issues. Gosh, I just had a thought. Imagine sentencing them to death. Yeah. Curious what the drug company will do. Are they going to have their pills just taken off the shelves? They have to. It'll be the law. It's the law. They have to. Exactly. The anti-abortionists, they never adopt kids. Ever, 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 ever. Oh, here's another thought I had the other morning. We were wandering around the desert by myself, talking out loud to the cactus, to the creosote. When somebody says, when you say, I was molested, where was God? Where was God? You know, you say God is looking out for me. Where was he when I was getting molested? Where was he when I was getting raped? Where was he when I was getting abused? And they always say, you know, God works in mysterious ways. God had a plan for you. God had a plan. Look at who that made you. It was God's will. Okay. Why doesn't that apply to the aborted fetus? If a fetus doesn't make it, if a fetus is aborted, why isn't that God's will? If a child is killed by a gun in school, it's God's will. God works in mysterious ways. It's going to make you stronger. If I make a choice to abort a fetus, why isn't that God's will? Why can't that same thinking be applied to that fetus was just not meant to be? That's God's will. God knew that that fetus would be better off than being born into a life of alcoholism, abuse, rape, molestation, and all the horrible things that statistically happen to unwanted children. Why can't that? Why is that not that same reasoning, for lack of a better word, that's generous? Why isn't that applied? God's will. It's God's will. God gave us free will, right? That's another thing I hear all the time. God gave us free will. Okay, I'm using my free will to abort my fetus, my embryo. That's God's will. So why then are you taking that right away from me? Yeah. So Craig, if God created the universe, why did he create the devil and his ability to turn evil? Yeah, exactly. Cheryl, God's will doesn't mean to trample on others, but if you do, oh well. Yeah. Poledu. I worked in a clinical anatomical pathology laboratory in the early 60s, saw some heartbreak. Hate to think about bringing back the coat hanger. I know. Have you guys seen the Call Jane yet? I think it's on Showtime, I think, or something. It's very good. Very good. But that's what's going to happen. Women are going to die. And some Republican lawmakers said they don't care. They don't care. A full-grown woman. Oh, God's will. It's God's will. We must save the baby, which is not a baby yet. It's not a baby till it's born. Yep, God's will. The woman dies, it's God's will. If the woman is murdered by her boyfriend, it's God's will. If a woman is raped and beaten by her boyfriend, it's God's will. A woman aborts an embryo, it's murder. Sarah, a friend was a doctor back before Roe v. Wade and said it became law because unsafe abortion practices were a crisis. Jeez. April, when I was a 20-year-old when I was 20, a Jesus freak asked me if he could talk to me about God. I told him I believe in God. I believe I am God. I love it. He walked away, but I was ready to have a conversation. I love that. All right. Laura says it's all a sin. All right. If it's a sin, then God forgives sins, right? God forgives the sinner. God doesn't hate the sinner. He hates the sin. But still, if it's a sin and God is willing to forgive sins, then why take that right away? Why take away my free will? If God gave us free will, why make a law taking away my free will? Allow me to sin so that God can forgive me and my sins. Hi, Linda. All right. Katie, it made me a raging alcoholic that suppressed my feelings. I think you were talking to me. Pretty much. Yeah, it made me a raging alcoholic so that I could deal with what happened to me. And it wasn't until I was able to until I got strong enough. Actually, I got sober before I fully dealt with what happened. I got sober from alcohol, not drugs, before I fully dealt with what was wrong with me. Sandra says, no. God hates the shedding of innocent blood, but in a free universe, bad things happen. Many an innocent victim suffers at the hand of evil, which is permitted to happen. Yeah. It makes no sense to me. I'm sorry. Katie, are you talking about Call Jane? That was very good. There's a wonderful BBC program called The Midwife, or Call the Midwife, that really helps open up your eyes to the history of women and the horrors they face before being allowed to control their own bodies. It's disgusting. I'm not picking on Christianity. I'm sorry you feel like I'm picking on Christianity. And if it offends you, then maybe you might want to leave this conversation. I am speaking my truth, my beliefs, and this is one person's opinion. I'm not picking on Christianity. I'm expressing my opinion. All right. Past time for women to stop being treated as second-class citizens, you think? I know, right? Oh, there's just so hopefully this hopefully this Texas case isn't going to I don't know what's going to happen. There was a competing case in Washington that said that you can't take it off the shelves, so it's going to end up in the Supreme Court, and who knows where it's going to go from there. Exactly. Dragonfly. Name a religion that does not belittle women. I think Wiccan. Doesn't Wiccan honor women? Is that even a religion? I know very little about Wiccan. But yeah, exactly. Every religion belittles women. Women are second-class citizens. They must obey the man. It's all patriarchal rule. But we need to stop. We're picking on religion on the high holiday. So, Robin, once again, I agree, Carolyn. I'm a grieving mother, and the loss of my son was not God's will. I'm so sorry. I can't imagine losing a child. A really good friend of mine many years ago lost his oldest son, and I'm so sorry. Laura, a lot of us have been hurt by religion. I want to counter every misconception purported by Christians. I have found people believing cliches and not even knowing what the religious document says. Sandra, really, really good point. Exactly. Sandra said Jesus didn't belittle women. Exactly. So why does the Bible? Why does the Bible and so many churches and so many religions, Catholicism, I think, is one of the worst, right? Craig Browning, even I make the studying witchcraft and becoming a lesbian excuse for missing church. I'm going to use that. I'm studying witchcraft and becoming a lesbian. So no church for me. So, Christiane, I don't understand why people get so offended if someone doesn't believe of them. I love nature and kindness. Call me a witch if you want. Yeah, that's kind of where I am. That's kind of where I am. I mean, I'm not, well, I don't know. I'm not going to justify anything that I said today. I mean, this is my opinion. That's what this channel is called, As I See It. And the timing, I didn't mean to go live tonight, but a lot of people asked me to go live to talk about the Tennessee case, and the conversation went toward the case in Texas. And I think religion is very much a part of the anti-abortion. It's all about religion. And so it came up, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? It starts with a G. Genetically. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Organically. Being Christ-like is being Christian. Agreed. That's what this atheist believes. Yep, exactly. And like I said, my favorite Christians are more Christ-like than a lot of the other people who call themselves Christian, who are absolutely not Christ-like at all, but who are not, who are other things. And we all need to stand up for the rights of each other. See, that's the thing. If we keep fighting amongst ourselves, the people in power are going to win. They're going to get everything they want. They're going to have all the power, and they're going to take away all our rights. We as people need to come together. And I know I'm saying that, and I'm up there calling people names and idiots, and it because we're all really just angry and passionate and exhausted, and it's really hard. And both sides are probably feeling the same way. It's really, really hard to come together right now. They're winning. The fascists are winning, pitting us against one another with these stupid, ridiculous culture wars, fearing drag queens. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, I do need to sign off because I'm going to need to get the heck out of here. So, any last minute questions or comments before we go? Sandra, exactly. Trump specialized in pitting one of us against the other. He did. He's very good at that. So Christiane says, thank you for allowing us a space to speak freely. I respect the religious, but I don't have to be that to be a good person and care about others. Exactly. That's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. And I do. I mean, I speak my mind very truthfully, very openly, very honestly here, very uncensored. It is not my intention to insult anyone here. Sarah Page, I really respect your beliefs and your opinions, and this is just me expressing mine. And I know it might sound harsh to some because I'm angry, but I do respect your right to believe and worship whatever you want. I just also believe in allowing others to do the same and allowing people to speak freely. Linda, thank you for being you. We're tired of people not being held accountable. Orange hair, I know, right? And let me see. Let me read your comments. Robin, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Robin. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. Dave says that's part of the distraction. Thanks for letting you speak. Of course, Sarah, Cheryl. And Dana, thank you for being here. Richard, thank you. Thank you very much, moderators. Thank you. Did we end up blocking American Supertramp? He's a long, old, one of my original trolls. Did we end up blocking him? He was respectful. He was good. He was fine, but I didn't see everything. Spirit Junkie, I need to go find Safe Harbor. Yes, exactly. Oh, wow, Stacy, that's sad. I think the troll left. Yeah. I mean, he kept it. I was pretty impressed. He was able to keep it respectable. And it okay, all right. And it was he was pretty respectful. I appreciated that from him. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for allowing me to speak freely and openly and hopefully not being offended by my truth. I try not to be offended by yours. So thank you all so much for being here. And let's do this. Let's from here on out. Well, for the as much it is. I was gonna say for the holiday, but I don't know if that's hypocritical. Let's do something nice in the next couple of days. Pay it forward. Do something nice for a stranger. Smile at a stranger. Compliment a stranger. Let's try to maybe pay it forward. Maybe just try to make somebody's day and make the world a kinder, friendlier place. I know I'm going to try to do that. So thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for enjoying this channel. It's really fun for me too to be able to get to talk about the things that I love. So thank you. Be nice first. Exactly. It's not always easy to be nice second. I struggle with that. I mean, if somebody isn't nice to me, being nice back, that is a work in progress for me. So thank you all so much. I need to get moving. I'll see you later. Have a good night, and happy Easter if that's what you're celebrating, and I'll see you soon. All right. Bye.